The ultimate guide to buying your first home. All right, so in this video, I'm basically going to show you how I'm going to try to take you from step A to point B and get you to your dream home fast as possible, right? So before we start, let me introduce myself. My name is Giovanni Castillo. I am a local real estate agent. My office is located here in Tustin, California, but I work with people all over. I work with people in Los Angeles, Orange County, the IE area, all over. So basically what I do is I help people either sell their homes for the most amount possible. So there's people who struggle to sell their homes. There's people who've tried selling in the past, but for some reason it doesn't end up selling. So I basically specialize in selling homes that failed to sell in the past. So that's one of the things I do. The other thing I do is I help people with the whole buying process, because there's a ton of people who want to buy their first home and they've tried looking into it, but they feel completely lost. They don't know where to start. So that's what I'm here for. And I'm going to try to guide you through this video. And then I got an offer for a free call or whatever if you need more help at the end of this video. So let's get started and see if I can help. So basically, step number one to buying your first home is determining your budget, because that's how we're going to find like the type of homes you're looking for, the areas that you could buy in. And then it gives us a better idea of what type of home you're looking for or what home you can afford, right? So there's various ways to determine your budget. Step number one, you can start by calculating your monthly income after taxes and subtract your expenses like rent, utilities, groceries, and your debt. Like if you have debt payments on cars or loans or credit cards, you got to take that into account, right? So you also got to factor in housing costs, which include your monthly mortgage payment, property taxes, homeowners insurance, and HOA fees if they're applicable. And then how do you determine your budget, or how do you find like how much you could afford? There are things called online mortgage calculators that you could use to estimate or to give you an estimate of what you can afford. And then as a general rule, you want to keep your housing costs at or below 30% of your monthly income, right? So if it's just you paying this monthly mortgage, you got to factor that in. Or if you have two people paying for it, you could combine those incomes and try to keep that below 30%. So that's the general rule. And then let me show you real quick how these calculators work, because they really come in handy, especially if you have no idea like what your budget is. So in order to find these calculators, it's pretty easy. You could just search mortgage calculator or online mortgage calculator. This one's at bankrate.com. So it's pretty useful. It gives you a rough estimate of how much the monthly payments are on a home, right? So if you're searching on Zillow, or you've seen a house on Instagram, or you visited my page and seen a house that you like and you don't know what the monthlies are, you can come here and have a quick estimate. So for example, right now I have a home for sale in Moreno Valley. That one's at $600,000. So let's use that as an example, right? Because that's pretty average around Moreno Valley, around this area. So we'll just use that as an example. So 600,000 home price. And this calculator is pretty easy. So you're going to put the home price right here. If you see a home that's 900,000 that you like, just put it here. Or if you see a home or a condo that's like 400,000, you can put it here. Same thing, right? Now, another myth in real estate is that you need 20% down to buy a home, right? That stops a lot of people from buying their first home. And this is a myth, right? You only need, FHA only requires 3.5% to purchase a home. And if you want to look more into that, just send me a message. There are also other conventional loans that only require 3%. But for this example, we're going to use the FHA loan for first-time home buyers. So we're going to do 3.5% as a down payment. So for a $600,000 home, 3.5% down is only $21,000, right? So that's not too bad. And we're going to estimate 30-year loan term. And then the interest rate right now is around 6%. It does vary. So we're just going to put 6% interest rate. And then we could put our zip code. So this is the Tustin zip code. I'm not sure what the Moreno Valley zip code is. So I'm just going to use this as an example. And then you just put update right here. And then it gives you a rough estimate of what your monthly payment is going to be for a $600,000 home, right? So in this case, it's around $3,932. So here are property tax. It includes property taxes, home insurance, and all that. You could adjust those right here on this side. And this is for someone with a 740 credit score. Again, we're going to cover what's the minimum credit score you need to buy a home. 740 is pretty good. Obviously, the higher the credit score, the better your payment or your mortgage is. So try to fix that. We're going to go into that, how to fix or increase your credit score too. But that's a rough estimate of what your monthly payment is going to be on a $600,000 house, right? So if you're looking at this video and you're thinking, oh, damn, I could afford that. And you have the down payment, like there's really nothing stopping you. Just try to do your own research or reach out to me and send me a message and I'll see how I can help you out, right? So that's basically the first step of determining your budget and seeing what type of home you could buy. So step number 2 is extremely important, right? Because if you don't have a good credit score, you're not going to qualify for a loan, right? So your credit score impacts your ability to qualify for a mortgage and determines your interest rate. So scores above 740 usually have the best rates, but you can still buy a home with lower scores. But usually you want to aim for a higher credit score. And then you could use free tools like Credit Karma or check through your bank apps. They usually have a way to check your credit score. And if you have a low credit score, you could try improving it by paying down existing debts or correcting any errors on your credit report, right? So try not to overuse those credit cards, right? Try to keep debt low, and that should help increase your score. So now step number 3, you should save for your down payment, because this is one of the biggest expenses into getting into real estate, right? Actually having a down payment to put down onto a home you love. Because if you see a home on Zillow or in person at an open house and you don't have enough down to put down, like you're not going to be able to buy it, especially in this market. So what is a down payment for those people that don't know? Basically, the down payment is your initial investment in the home. So like I said, most people say that you need 20% as down to buy a home. But like I said, there are other programs that allow you to pay less. So one of the biggest ones for first-time home buyers is the FHA loan. So you only need 3.5%, right? So that's not too bad. You don't need 20%. You could qualify with 3.5%. There are other conventional loans that go as low as 3%. And then veterans and eligible service members may qualify for VA loans, which require 0% down. So if you've served in the military, take advantage of that program, right? Because you're able to buy real estate with 0% down. Like, what are you waiting for? And then there are other down payment assistance programs that could provide you grants or low interest loans to help you cover this cost. So these depend more on the area or the cities that you're buying at, but I still recommend having a down payment saved and then using this as a bonus, right? So just to make sure that you qualify for these homes. All right, step number 4, you got to get pre-approved for a mortgage. So basically what pre-approval does, it gives you a clear budget and it shows sellers that you are a serious buyer. So how do you get pre-approved? First, you need to find a loan officer that can help you out. If you don't know anyone, hit me up. I work with a preferred lender. She's pretty good. She's awesome, and she helps a lot of people qualify for these loans, especially if you tried qualifying in other areas and they tell you that you don't qualify. We'll look for ways to help you through that process as well. So just send me a message. But basically, what these lenders look for is the following. So they require recent pay stubs. They require tax returns for the last 2 years. They require bank statements, and they require information about your debt and your assets. Okay, so this is extremely important to qualify for a mortgage. Why? Because it shows that your income is stable. It shows that you could afford these payments, And that basically helps you get pre-approved for a house. And once you're pre-approved, you'll receive a letter stating the maximum loan that you qualify for. So let's say you get pre-approved for a home that's $600,000. Now you can start shopping around for $600,000 homes and under. Let's say you qualify for $1 million home. Now you can start shopping for $1 million homes and under, right? So this is extremely important. I wouldn't start shopping prior to doing this, prior to getting pre-approved, because this gives you a definite budget or clear idea of what type of property you could afford. There are also other people that maybe they have businesses, right? So maybe your business is making a lot of money, but you report a lot of expenses, and that kind of stopped you from buying a home in the past. We also specialize in working with those business owners. So basically, as an example, right now, the minimum these lenders are looking for is $100,000 in income. This could be by yourself or household with your husband or your wife or your kids. So multiple people could qualify for a loan, right? You alone don't have to get pre-approved by yourself. You could bring in more other people like your family or your wife or something like that. But for those business owners that are making money and they're reporting a lot of expenses, let's say their business makes like $100,000, the minimum that these lenders are looking for, and you only report $30,000, but you can make those payments. You just got to reduce those costs. But that's the only thing stopping you. Maybe other lenders told you like, oh, you're not making enough annually to qualify. Like, we could help you out. We only look at what the income that you generate. We could use bank statements to see how much is going into your bank, and we only use those to get you approved for this loan, right? So if you're a business owner who's making money, but you're not reporting enough, we could still probably help you out. If you need help with that, again, send me a message and we'll help you through that. Okay? So now step number 5, find a real estate agent, right? So this is extremely important because a good agent is going to guide you through the entire buying process. If you've never bought in a home, it's a big responsibility. And again, if you've never done something, you're probably not going to be good at it the first time around, right? So you're going to need someone who's been through this, who could guide you through the entire process, and that could basically take care of this for you, right? So you're going to want to look for someone with experience in your area. And they should understand local market trends and have strong negotiation skills, because a lot of the time, a lot of agents, I'm not going to trash talk, right? But there's some agents who don't know how to negotiate, and they basically don't get you into the homes that you want, right? So you want to look for a tough negotiator, someone who's good at talking, someone who's good at sales, and that could help you get the best rate for the best price for your home, right? Because it's a big investment, and you got to work with someone you trust. So that's the importance of finding a good real estate agent. And also, agents could connect you with trusted lenders, inspectors, and professionals that you need along the way to buy these homes, right? So it's important to work with agents who have a strong network. So now, step number 6, start house hunting, right? So now you've been pre-approved. Now you have your pre-approval letter. You know how much you can afford. Now it's the fun part. Time to start shopping for your home, right? So this is the fun part, where we create a list of things that you want in your home. You can start picturing how many rooms you want. You can start picturing the yard you want, how many beds you want. Do you want a pool? Do you just want something private? Do you want a big yard? We can start making a list of the homes or the must-haves that you need to have in your home. Right? There's different ways we could find these homes. We could visit open houses. We could schedule private showings. We could use apps like Zillow or Realtor.com to browse listings or homes on the market. And then be prepared to compromise. Finding the perfect home might require some flexibility. So what I mean by this, I tell a lot of clients, is that don't fall in love with a house that you're seeing. Why? Because again, there's a lot of competition. Sometimes you might have that perfect dream home in your mind, but when you look at certain homes, there's just like one slight thing that's missing. And then a lot of people don't end up buying a house because they don't find everything that they're looking for. So you got to be able to compromise. What are the biggest things that you need in your home? And then what are you able to, or what are you willing to part with, right? So have that in mind. Be prepared to compromise and find homes that you like, right? So have different options. Don't just fall in love with one home. Then step number 7, once you find homes that you love, let's say you find 3 homes that you love, and you're asking like, where do I put an offer? Do I just put an offer on the home that I love, or do I put an offer on the 3 homes that I like? So again, my suggestion is putting an offer on all the homes that you like. Why? Because let's say your offer on one home gets denied, or someone outbids you, but the other 2, those offers are approved. Now you have a choice of choosing, right? Like you could say, oh, okay, so these 2 are approved. Now I could choose this house. I really like this house. So you're more in control of the process doing it that way rather than just putting an offer on one house at a time. So again, that's why I say be flexible and be willing to compromise on the homes, because you could always make the homes into the perfect dream home, right? You could always remodel or fix certain details, right? So don't let that stop you from buying a home. And basically, after you make an offer, the offer, what does that include? It includes the price that you're willing to pay. It includes contingencies like home inspection or appraisal. It includes a timeline for closing. And during this time, be ready to negotiate. So if you're buying alone, like this is going to be hard, especially if you've never negotiated before and you're negotiating with agents who have years of experience, like that's going to be hard. But that's why I suggest, again, working with an experienced realtor who's able to negotiate on your behalf, because sellers, they might counter you. They might counter your offer with their own terms. And if you don't know what they're talking about, like it's going to be hard closing this deal. So be ready to negotiate, or be ready to work with someone who's able to negotiate on your part. And then step number 8, home inspection and appraisal. So the home inspection basically ensures that there aren't any major issues with the properties, like structural damage or plumbing problems. So the inspection does reveal problems. You could always negotiate repairs or ask for a price reduction. The appraisal basically confirms the home's value matches the price you're paying for. So lenders won't approve a loan for more than the appraised value. So this step protects both you and the bank. So that's extremely important. And then step number 9, you got to close the deal, baby. So basically, closing is a final step where ownership of the home transfers to you. So during closing, you'll review and sign a stack of documents, including mortgage agreements and deeds. You'll also pay closing costs, which typically range for 2 to 5% of the purchase price. And these cover fees for the lender, title company, and other services. So I do recommend, apart from having something saved for down payment, have at least 2 to 5% saved for closing costs. Now, bonus tips. These tips, they are extremely important because they could basically ruin a deal. And I've heard of other agents having to deal with things like this, where people make like major purchases after being pre-approved, and then they're no longer approved because their debt to income ratio is bad. So here are some tips that you must follow, right? Avoid making major purchases or opening new lines of credit during the home buying process, because this can affect your credit score and your loan approval. Stay in close communication with your lender and your agent. They're there to guide you, right? So if you have any questions like, oh, should I get this credit card? Probably not, right? But any questions, always ask your lender and your agent. And then be patient, because finding the right home can take weeks or even months, but it's worth it. Especially if you find a home that's perfect and it's something that you've always looked for, it's always been your dream. Once you're approved and you're into that new home, I promise you it's worth it. It's worth all that trouble. All right, so I hope this video gave you all the tools necessary to start with your home buying process. Like I said, this is everyone's dream to be able to own their own home one day. So don't let all the bad news stop you from making this purchase. I know it's hard, especially with rising mortgage rates and interest rates and payments and all that. But let me ask you this, because I mean, history shows that prices keep going up. And if we keep looking at how things are going, prices are probably never going to go back down. Mortgage rates are probably never going to be 2.5% again. So if you could afford to make these monthly mortgage payments, I do recommend you purchasing a home, because what happens if you don't make the purchase and prices keep going up, interest rates keep going up, and you lose your chance to buy a home forever? Like, would you be happy with that? If that does end up happening and you no longer are able to purchase a home because of higher prices or higher interest rates, like, whose fault is that for not having taken action previously, right? So if you're ready to start the home buying process now, but you just need a little bit more help, send me a message, send me a DM on Instagram, or book a free call with me. I'll leave a link around this video, and I'll schedule you for a free buyer consultation where we'll basically just sit down, talk, see what type of homes you're looking for, see what you need help with, and I'll give you a step-by-step plan to finally buying your first home. So again, I'll leave the link for that free call or that free consultation around this video, or send me a message on Instagram, and I'll help you with the entire process. So hope this video helped. Don't forget to leave a like, share this video with someone that might need help buying their first home too. And I look forward to working with you. Talk to you soon.